A very good morning everyone. So this video is about the stability considerations of a two-port network, and here the two-port network that we are going to consider is an amplifier. So the amplifier has an input port and output port where the signal is given at the input port and the amplified signal is obtained at the output port. So this coefficient at the source is denoted as tau s, at the load it is tau l, and at the input and output of the amplifier the coefficients, the reflection coefficients are denoted as tau in and tau out. We have seen regarding these parameters in the transducer gain derivation. Now this is about to check whether the given amplifier will be stable or unstable, and under which regions the amplifier is going to act stable and at which instances the amplifier is going to become unstable in nature. Now we know that from our previous units the reflection coefficient was denoted as K, but in RF ranges we have denoted it by the term tau. So when the reflection coefficient is less than 1, we say that there are no oscillations or no noises that are present, and therefore it is considered to be stable in nature. But if the reflection coefficient becomes greater than 1, the amplifier becomes unstable, and here it starts to act as an oscillator, no more behaves as an amplifier. So therefore, for my amplifier to behave in a stable region, and if it has to be effective in its normal operating range, then the main condition that has to be satisfied is tau must be less than 1, or at least at the input and the output this has to be less than or equal to 1. So using this condition, now let us check at which points our amplifier is going to be stable and where it is going to be unstable. Now to find that, I am taking the two reflection coefficients of the amplifier. We have considered tau in, which is the reflection coefficient at the input of the amplifier, and tau out, which is the reflection coefficient at the output of the amplifier. The formula of tau in as studied in the transducer gain derivation, it is given by S11 plus S12 S21 tau L divided by 1 minus S22 tau L. And the output reflection coefficient is given by, similar, it is same to this, change S11 to S22 and tau L to tau S. So it becomes S22 plus S12 S21 tau S divided by 1 minus S11 tau S. So if these two coefficients are less than, or at least if they are equal to 1, we can conclude that our amplifier will operate in the stable region. Now let us start to analyze the types of stability. Stability can be categorized into two. The first one is called as unconditional stability, and the second one is called as conditional stability. So an amplifier is said to be unconditionally stable when both the input reflection coefficient and the output reflection coefficient are less than 1 for all the values of source and load. Hope I am clear. So whatever is the value of source that is going to be given to the amplifier, and whatever might be the load conditions for all the types of source and load, if the reflection coefficients are less than 1, we call the amplifier to be unconditionally stable. Now coming to conditional stability, the amplifier is said to be conditionally stable when tau in is less than 1, tau out is less than 1, not for all values but only for a specific range of input and output. So I'll just repeat what I said now. An amplifier is said to be unconditionally stable when the input reflection coefficient and the output reflection coefficient is less than 1 for all values of tau s represents the source and tau L, which is the load. But under conditional stability, an amplifier is said to be conditionally stable if the reflection at the input and output is less than 1, not for all values but only for specific values of source and the load. Now to find where the amplifier is stable and where the amplifier is unstable, we are going to plot two circles called as the input stability circle and the output stability circle. These two circles tells us the boundary, or it tells us in which region my amplifier is given to be stable in nature and where the amplifier is unstable in nature. The intersection actually of these two circles depict the stable and unstable regions. So we are going to find out based on certain condition where the input stability circle and output stability circle intersect each other, and the intersect decides whether it is stable in nature or it is unstable in nature. Now let us start to see how to find the stability. Now let us derive the condition for output stability circle. Now these stability circles are going to be drawn on a Smith chart. So the condition for the circle on a Smith chart is given by tau minus c is equal to r. This is the general equation of a circle on the tau plane. Tau plane means, for example, this is a plane of a paper. Similarly, the Smith chart contains circles. We consider the circle on the Smith chart to be the tau plane. If it is load, means it is tau L minus CL is equal to RL. So we consider the surface of Smith chart to be the load reflection coefficient, the plane of the load reflection coefficient. CL represents the center point and R represents the radius of the output stability circle. Now to analyze the output stability circle, I am going to equate tau in to be equal to 1, because if it goes greater than 1 means we saw that the amplifier becomes unstable, it behaves as an oscillator. So the condition is it has to be equal to 1. Now for output stability, we need to find the term tau L. So tau L is present in which expression? It is present in tau in expression. So that is why we equate tau in equal to 1. So I take the formula for tau in, which is S11 plus S12 S21 tau L by 1 minus S22 tau L, and we equate this to 1. Our aim is to bring this equation in the form of this general expression of a circle to find the center of the output stability circle and the radius of the output stability circle. So let us try to bring this expression in the form of tau minus C is equal to R. Now let us take this equation, take LCM of this. So this becomes S11 into 1 minus S22 tau L plus S12 S21 tau L whole divided by 1 minus S22 tau L. We have a modulus here. This is equal to 1. Now multiply this term inside. So this becomes modulus of S11 minus S11 S22 tau L plus S12 S21 tau L divided by 1 minus S22 tau L. This is equal to 1. Now these two equations have tau L in common, so let us take it commonly outside. So this becomes S11 minus tau L into S11 S22. So this is a plus. So we'll be having minus S12 S21 divided by 1 minus S22 tau L equal to 1. Now if you see this particular value, we know that the S matrix of a two-port network is S11, S12, S21 and S22. And the determinant of this gives us, it is S11, S22 minus S12, S21. So this value is nothing but the determinant del of a two-port matrix. So I'm going to replace this value. I'm going to write it as del now. So this becomes S11 minus del into mod of tau L. We have modulus for all the terms. I'll take this to that side. So this becomes, it is equal to 1 minus S22 tau L. Now we'll bring all the tau L terms to one side and remaining terms to the other side. So I'll take this here, we'll take this here. So this becomes S22 tau L minus del into tau L is equal to 1 minus S11. Now take tau L commonly outside, so this becomes tau L into S22 minus del is equal to 1 minus S11. All is present inside a modulus. Now let us multiply with the conjugate on both the sides. So this is tau L into, we have the term S22 minus del. I am going to multiply with this conjugate. So this becomes S22 conjugate plus del. I am taking conjugate of each and every term. So plus becomes minus. For S22 the conjugate is S22 star. For del the conjugate is del star. And this is equal to, at the right hand side we have 1 minus S11. To this we are multiplying the conjugate value S22 conjugate plus del conjugate. Now we will simplify this equation. If you see this, this is of the form a minus b into a plus b. So this can be written as a square minus b square. So this becomes, don't miss out the modulus, so this is mod of tau L into, we have mod of S22 square minus del square. This is equal to, multiply each and every term inside the bracket. So this becomes mod of S22 star plus mod of del star minus S11 S22 star, and we have minus mod of S11 into del star, right? This is the equation we have. Now our aim is to find what is tau L. So have tau L here, bring all the other terms to the right hand side. So tau L is equal to, it is S22 conjugate plus mod of del conjugate minus S11 S22 star minus S11 del star divided by mod of S22 square minus del square. Now what is del conjugate? We know del is equal to S11 S22 minus S12 S21. So the conjugate of this becomes, take conjugate of all the S parameters. So it is S11 star S22 star minus S12 star S21 star. So this is your del star value. Substitute this del star in this place. So therefore we get tau L is equal to mod of S22 conjugate plus we have S11 star S22 star minus S12 star S21 star minus mod of S11 S22 star minus S11 del star whole divided by S22 square minus del square. Now see whether any similar terms are there. If you see, this is S11 star S22 star, this is S11 S22. Now take modulus for example for a plus ib. What is the modulus of a plus ib? It is root of a square plus b square. If I take it to be a minus ib, it is again root of a square plus b square. So whatever is present inside the modulus, the magnitudes are going to be the same. So I can say that, for example, if this is some value a, this is the conjugate of that, and both have the same magnitudes. So a will be equal to a star. In that context, we can write S11 star to be the same as S11 here. So I'm going to write tau L is equal to, this is S22 star plus S11 S22 star minus S12 star S21 star minus S11 S22 star minus S11 del star divided by S22 star minus del star. So now we can cancel out this term and this term and write the balanced terms that are present. Now let us rearrange the terms. So we will be getting tau L is equal to S22 star. I'll bring the last term forward. So it is S11 into del star minus we have S12 star S21 star, and this divided by mod of S22 square minus del square. Now the general form of equation was tau minus C is equal to R. So we will bring off this form in this particular equation. So this will become, I'll take this term to the left hand side. So it is tau L minus mod of S22 star minus S11 del star divided by S22 square minus del square is equal to, we have minus modulus of S12 star S21 star divided by mod of S22 square minus del square. Now this is of the form tau L minus CL is equal to RL. So compare the values. We will be getting CL, which is equal to your output circle radius. This is, I'll write this star, the conjugate, as whole. So this can be written as S22 minus S11 star del the whole star. So for this term we apply a star, it becomes S22 star. This becomes conjugate of a conjugate becomes the same S11 again, and for this we have a del star divided by mod of S22 square minus del square, and the radius RL, which is your output circle radius, is given by. Negative can be avoided because radius is just a numerical quantity, so this is given by, and conjugate of modus is similar to S12. We can write S12 to be equal to the S12 conjugate, both are the same. So I'm just going to write this as S12 S21 divided by mod of S22 square minus del the whole square. So these two equations tells us the center of the output stability circle and the radius of the output stability circle. To obtain for input stability circle, just we can make the following replacement. Replace S22 with S11 and we can replace tau L to be tau S. By making these replacements, we can find the formula for the input stability circle. So this formula becomes quite simple. If this becomes S11, this changes to S22. So the formula for input stability circle Cin will be S11 minus S22 conjugate del the whole square divided by S11 square minus del square. And similarly, the radius of the input stability circle Rn is given by S12 S21 divided by mod of S11 the whole square minus del square. So these two are the formulas for the center and radius of the output stability circle, and these two are the center and radius of your input stability circle. So using these formulas, we'll plot the circles on a Smith chart and predict the stable and unstable regions. Now the case 1 is to draw the output stability circles. To draw the output stability circle, let us take the tau1 expression once again. So it is S11 plus S12 S21 tau L divided by 1 minus S22 tau L. Now let us assume that the reflection at the output is 0. So let us take tau L to be 0. If this expression totally becomes 0, we will be getting tau1 is equal to S11. So therefore, when tau L is equal to 0, we can write tau1 is equal to S11. So based on S11 values only, we will predict the output stability circle to be whether a stable region or an unstable region. Now when S11 is less than 1 means it has to cover the center point because this is your origin. So when S11 value in the question is given to be less than 1, then after drawing the circle, the intersection region where the origin is covered, this is said to be stable in nature, and other than the other regions, they are said to be unstable in nature. Whereas when S11 is greater than 1, which means the origin will not be covered, which means this region is considered to be unstable. Only the intersection part is said to be stable in nature. I'll just make you clear once again. When S11 is less than 1, so less than 1 means I should take this origin point also. So the region that covers this origin point, this alone is said to be stable. This region is said to be unstable. Whereas if S11 value is greater than 1, then origin point will not be covered. So this is said to be the unstable region, and where it intersects, that region is alone said to be the stable region. Now for the input stability circles, we will take the expression containing tau S. So when there is no reflection at the input, we will consider tau S to be 0. So when tau S becomes 0, this term vanishes. We will be getting tau out is equal to S22. So based on S22 values, once again we will predict. So when S22 is less than 1, so this is the left hand side indicates the input stability circles, the right hand side indicates the output stability regions. So when S22 is less than 1, the region covering the origin, this is said to be the stable region. And similarly when S22 is greater than 1, I will not consider the origin. So other than this part, wherever the two circles intersect, this is said to be your stable region. The last condition is unconditional stability. So we saw that unconditional stability means both the input and output will be less than 1 for all values of frequencies. So when you draw the diagram, we will have a condition, just a minute. So we will have a condition where either the two circles are either it totally intersects, the tau circle, the source totally resides inside the output stability circle, or this totally retains outside your stability circle. We will understand this more better when we plot it on a Smith chart. And one more thing that we must know is there are two tests that we perform to determine stability. It is actually called as a Rowlett factor and the Dell test. When the Rowlett factor is greater than 1 and Dell is less than 1, under these two conditions, the amplifier is said to be potentially stable or unconditionally stable. So if an amplifier passes these two tests, we can confirm the amplifier to be a stable amplifier. So this is the formula for Rowlett factor. We will start our problems by finding the Rowlett factor and the determinant, the Dell value. If k is greater than 1 and Dell is less than 1, we will conclude that the amplifier is potentially stable in all the frequency ranges. Fine. So the next video we will see how to plot these circles on a Smith chart. Thank you.